You are watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales from the Drive-Thru. If you're new, Tales from the Drive-Thru is the series where I talk about my experiences working in the fast food industry. Today's episode, I will be talking about the time I got Dozer Mac a job at the same fast food restaurant I worked at. I was gonna have him tell this story himself, but he's an unreliable person. And we have very contradictory schedules, so I'm just gonna record it and say what I remember. So Dozer Mac needed a job, so I referred him to my manager, and the manager hired him. However, while he was there, he was not exactly the model employee. He was frequently late for work, on a couple of occasions over 6 hours late. He took way too many breaks. You're only supposed to get one break that's 10 minutes long and one break that's 30 minutes long. But he would take about 50 fucking breaks, and that's not even really an exaggeration. Like, every 20 minutes he would have to take a break to go smoke. Funny thing is there was a couple of the employees that were uncomfortable around him for some reason, and they didn't know that I knew him, so they were talking about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's so wrong? And they're like, I don't know, there's just something off about him. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, there was a couple of employees that didn't like him. There was a few that did too, but anyway, there's a training video we would watch about fries, and one of the things it said is, do not break the fries. Well, one day I came in, and Dozer Mac was filling the fry hopper. And he's sitting there with the bucket of fries, snapping them in half, saying over and over again, do not break the fries. Do not break the fries. It was the funniest shit ever. He didn't get along with the manager, Rimmer, who I've mentioned in previous episodes. Rimmer did not like him in the slightest. There were also several days where he just didn't show up at all. I mean, 6 hours late wasn't bad enough. He just didn't show up for quite a few days. And, of course, there was just excuse after excuse after excuse, all of which were total bullshit and were very contradictory in some cases. Dozer Mac wasn't the only friend I got a job. I also got another friend a job. We'll call him Jimmy. And Jimmy was a friend I'd known since elementary school, but he needed a job as well, so I got him a job. This was actually after Dozer Mac had quit working there because he just kind of stopped showing up. But Jimmy can't drive. He doesn't have a license, and he doesn't have a car. And he lives quite far from the place, so he was kind of staying with me in my front room on the couch for about a month while he worked there, because he only worked there about a month. We had opposite shifts. For instance, my shift was 4 a.m. to 12 p.m., at least around that time. My shifts were inconsistent, but that's what my shift was during the time he was working there. Sometimes he'd go in with me at 4 in the morning, and his shift wouldn't start until 1. So he'd wait in the lobby, just drinking coffee after coffee after coffee for 9 hours, waiting for someone to tell him he can clock in early, or wait until his shift officially started. At the time, I had my iPod Touch, which I always took to work with me, because I was constantly using it to watch videos on YouTube and stuff when I worked the register in the back. Even though it was against policy, I didn't fucking care, and nobody said shit to me about it. But since Jimmy was out in the lobby for hours on end, I'd let him use my iPod Touch. At this time, he didn't have a cell phone either. He does now, but he didn't back then. So I would let him use my iPod Touch, and he'd just sit out there watching YouTube videos and using the text app to text people back and forth with it. Of course, this was something that was very stressful. When you're around someone for a long period of time, even if you're good friends, you can start to get frustrated and angry at them. And that happened with Jimmy. The thing is I got really irritated a lot of the times having to take him to and from work, even on days I didn't work. And sometimes I would drop him off, and he would just get off early, and then would tell me that he wants me to come pick him up. And I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? I'd be mad, but then I'd go do it, and then he'd be like, oh no, my mom's coming to pick me up. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Why did you not tell me that? Again, I hold nothing against him for this to this day, but at the time, that was fucking frustrating. But of course, that's all water under the bridge now. But anyway, what really sucked for him was when he got fired. Rather, he didn't get fired. He transferred to another location. But the thing is because I was no longer willing to drive him because I had become pissed off at all this constant back and forth, he decided to take the bus to and from work. And he became absent quite frequently, and late quite frequently as well. One day he came in, and there was this manager there who told him, no, we don't need you, go home. We've already replaced you for this shift. It's like, bitch, why the hell did you not tell him that beforehand? You have his home number, and you could have told me, and I could have relayed it to him. But no, he comes out there, and she just sends him back home on the bus that he just came fucking 20 miles or so to get there. It was bullshit, and I feel bad for him for it. But anyway, those are when I got my friends their jobs. Dozer Mac and Jimmy, as we called it. Those were the only 2 times I referred anyone to a job there, simply because working with my friends was fun and all, but at the same time, I didn't wish it upon them because I had gotten so sick of the job. After those two, I decided no longer to refer anyone. Not to mention with those two becoming frequently absent, and one transferring and one just quit showing up altogether, I felt that it wasn't a good reputation for me to keep referring people if this kind of shit was going to happen with the kind of friends I have. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Tales from the Drive-Thru. I'll see you for the next one.